Whenever I'm training on the topic of leadership, my students always ask me, Perminus, is there a difference between leadership and management? What does it mean to be a leader and what does it mean to be a manager? Are they the same? Do they share? Do they have similarities? And if they are different, how are they different? So today we are going to look at what does it take to be a leader and versus what does it take to be a manager. I'll start with defining what management is, and then I'll go to leadership. So when we talk about management, it's about you being responsible for smooth running, either of a department or a business. And here it's through control of resources. And we know when you're talking about resources in a business, we are talking about people. And when I refer to people, I'm talking about the human aspect. Other resources could be money. So here we are talking about budgets, we're talking about finances. We could also be referring to the infrastructure, that makes things run smoothly in a business. So whether it's logistics. So the work of a manager is to ensure that processes and resources are being utilized in an effective way. So it's all about processes, resources, it's about taking care of the people, it's about taking care of the finances. So a manager is involved in the day-to-day decision making in order to make sure that the business is running smoothly. So whenever you find that you're being promoted from an ordinary employee to now being a supervisor, being in charge of a department, being in charge of even a business, if you're a CEO or even a director, then what you're performing, the role you're performing is the role of a manager. So have this in mind. Whenever you're talking about management, it's normally a role. It's a position that you've been given. What about leadership? When we talk about leadership, what comes to mind? What are we referring to? So as opposed to management, which is a position, in the hierarchy of the organization, leadership, it's about your ability of an individual to influence, to motivate, and to enable others to contribute towards organizational success. So from that definition, you can be able to see that leadership is not position-based. So someone could just be an ordinary employee, they don't have anyone reporting to them, and yet they are a leader. They're able to influence others, they're able to motivate others, they're able to make others, behave in a certain manner, in a certain direction. Remember when you were growing up, of this, child in the estate or, out there in the village, they didn't have really a leadership position, but some of them you'd find they had a way of bringing us together as children and making us do things, whether it's good or bad. So that's what we mean by leadership. Leadership, it's not about a position. It's not about you being in the, having a role, in the organizational structure where someone tells you, Perminus, here you are a leader. So it's possible for you to be a manager and not to be a leader. And it's also possible for you to have a leadership role in the organization without you necessarily becoming a manager. So when you also talk about leadership, think of things like motivating people, think about coaching others, think about empowerment. Okay? Those are the key skills that go along with you practicing your leadership role. So there you have it, and that's the difference between leadership and management.